welcome to a fun special edition of Cat Space. I am Cat, with me is Buckets, and of course, my WWE tag team partner, Leon. Good evening, gentlemen.
As long as it's a mixed tag team match, otherwise it don't work right.
Exactly. So, this is a bit unscripted. We're gonna run with it anyway. So, the reason why we are here is because my tag team partner and I have decided to talk about John Cena. John Cena has obviously retiring in the ring. As he's now 48 years old, his body cannot take many more hits, and December 13th is his last time ever. So you can't see him after that. Sorry, Cena.
It's funny that you've said that John Cena can't take any more hits, but like I remember when his song came out and that was the number one hit.
I know.
I like how you've said too after December we can't see him because he literally won't because there was a match just recently involving I think it might have been Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch
Yes,
where
I remember that. Oh
where,
my
where
God.
Nikki Bella hit John Cena and you couldn't see him but she still managed
Yeah,
to hit him. But
that that
that's the old you can't
was.
see me joke right there.
But I did see the promo, and he did say that there's going to be people from Raw, people from SmackDown, people from NXT, and people who don't work there. So
I think by what he means by that is by TNA wrestling or even AAA wrestling as well, because that's all under the quote unquote WWE umbrella at the moment.
I thought he was.
WWE did buy out AAA. I believe they did buy out AAA, which is the Mexican wrestling. And as far as TNA goes, they've got a working arrangement right now with the WWE. So
I thought it'd be someone from people from AEW or something like that.
yeah, I think he got Buckley's chance and AEW wrestlers coming along.
I would like to see Rhea Ripley's husband really have a crack at it if that's the case.
Yeah.
I've seen how basically, sorry to interrupt, but I've seen how they're basically making the WWE right now, and it's become so much like an Olympic sport because they're always having matches in different countries, different states. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, one week they're having it in Melbourne, and then the next minute they're having it in Mexico, and the next minute they're having it in Dubai. And the next minute they're having it in
Saudi
London
Arabia
and Saudi Arabia. There's another one. Uh,
They did have the Crown Jewel event recently in
and in
Perth
Perth.
in
Yep.
Western Australia. So
Yep. And that's the thing with I grew up on John Cena. I grew up with him, and I think it was even though the world was shook when he announced his retirement, I wasn't as shaken because I heard him say multiple times that his his body can't take so much as the way he's walking. He has to hunch when he's walking. He can't walk standing up straight. Like he has to hunch literally because his spine is pretty much stuffed, and that it hurts him to walk a lot.
you know when he came back in 2002, 2003, when he first made it to the main roster, he was a whisker away from being released
Yeah,
because his persona, his gimmick, wasn't that great. He was just a straight up generic wrestler and stuff like that. And they were going to release him, and then it was Stephanie McMahon who came up with the idea of John Cena rapping. So he rapped about tuna, and he got a and he became a main eventer shortly afterwards.
exactly. And do you know, since he has mentioned his retirement, and I do wish him a happy retirement, I don't see him leaving WWE as a factor of out of the ring because he said that there's still so much work to be done outside the ring. He's just done in ring where now I can see him possibly sitting next to Pat McAfee being a commentator or working with Triple H behind the scenes writing scripts or helping the new generation of wrestlers at the wrestling camp become stars in their own rights.
Well, yeah,
you,
now that
you
you
know,
mention that, yeah, you mentioned that. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. Now you mention that he was actually just snapped recently in NXT, giving advice to the newer generation as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say, one of the things that hasn't worked for John Cena is that they tried to get him to be a heel as opposed to a babyface. And the thing is about John Cena is John Cena is the kind of guy that has always kind of he's not an actual Marine himself, even though his
No, his
persona
brother's a police officer.
but he's always kind of had this sort of support towards the armed services of America or the Defense Force. He's got lots of merchandise which actually makes him look like he's saluting someone. And so for him to just turn heel, it never really worked for him.
No,
It just looked like he was having like a you know burnout or a breakdown kind of thing,
Or a midlife crisis.
or a
yeah,
midlife crisis, and it never really worked for him. And it was just like, yeah, I don't like this persona because we all know it's fake.
I just thought, who is this person, and why is he behaving like this? Like, I get, I get. It's sort of like you finally want your favorite soap opera actor to turn bad, and you like seeing the baddies come out. But I just feel like it was. I think Triple H must have thought, well, it's trial and error. Let's see what we can do with John, but it did not work because when you're up against Dwayne Johnson, it's kind of like, well, obviously he's a heel and John Cena a heel. It was a bad storyline.
Well, when he first came into wrestling, into the wrestling thing under OVW, I think it was the time where it was OVW, that was the developmental. He came in as a character called the Prototype, and just trying to find who he was. He wasn't, as far as technical wrestlers, he wasn't really that, but his promos were absolutely incredible. And from pretty much from OVW as the Prototype, his promos were just incredible. And he took that to the main roster and he was able to adapt. And he came in initially as a babyface into the main roster as a babyface, but since that was generic, he started doing some freestyling, which then he became a heel. And by doing that, within a year of him starting to do that little freestyle rap, that turned him babyface. And
Yeah,
from there on, right up until till he initially really took some time off in the WWE, he was the babyface. And
exactly.
he did really nothing to become the babyface except for being the freestyle and heel.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. Now let's look at another contender who is retiring officially, and that's AJ Styles. AJ Styles has been there from the very, very beginning and
AJ Styles has been there for a very long
very
time.
long time.
I mean, he's not as he hasn't been there as long as Hogs, but he's certainly been in the Hogs era kind of thing.
And I think when he saw John Cena retiring, he said, okay, I've had enough too. I'm going to retire. This is it. Next year, I'm going to retire.
Well, with AJ Styles, he came in just as WCW folded, so he came in 2001. So he had to really go in the hard way because I believe it was I can't remember the tag team he was in at the time in the WCW when it folded. But when WCW was bought out, AJ Styles didn't get a look in, so he was out. And then you had the Jarretts who came up with TNA wrestling, and he came up through that. And I believe he came up through that way, and then he came through Ring of Honor and All Japan, and that's when he started finding his character, the character that you see in WWE right now. But he came through the hard way. He was, you could say he was the journeyman, but um, that's how AJ Styles came in, but he came in the long way. It took him about 10 or 12 years be- um, between when WCW folded and the WWE picking him up.
I mean, let's look at the ages of these men. You've got Dwayne Johnson, who's in his either early or late 50s. You've got Cena, who's 48. AJ, who's in his late 40s. Now, I forgot to mention one person on my thumbnail, and that is CM Punk. Dude, I love him. I've got the biggest crush on him, but
And by the
dude
way, the
needs to
new
retire.
world heavyweight champion, by the
Congrats.
way,
I saw
per
that.
Saturday
Congrats,
night's main
CM.
event today.
I know. Congrats, CM Punk. Very proud of you. But the thing is, with these men, like we're talking about CM Punk, sorry, AJ Styles, you're talking about Cena, you're talking about Dwayne, you're talking about someone like Roman Reigns, who said after 2 years, my contract runs out, I'm done.
Can I say something about CM Punk? CM Punk deserves to retire,
Yeah,
not because he's a bad wrestler, but because he's been in the game
for
actually
too
longer
long.
than John Cena. I mean, but in saying that, he's practically a veteran. I
Yeah,
mean, he's been there in for so long, for so long. And the thing is, what I like about him, to be perfectly honest, is it's like um he's never really needed to rely on other superstars to make it to the top. It's like he's done everything himself.
yeah.
He has had help from the wise man and stuff like that as far as coaching and whatever,
Oracle.
you know. Um
Paul Heyman.
Well,
yeah.
Heyman.
But he hasn't really needed an alliance with anyone. He's basically his own force of nature.
Like,
So
I see these men, like, take Roman. Roman, his contract expires 26 or 27. And he said, I can't take much more either. My body hurts. And I think they will all of these guys will go into acting somehow or just go behind the scenes.
yeah,
And or, with this wrestling camp that they do, they show you behind the scenes of these new kids coming up and they're training them in the ring and they're showing them and sort of, I think there's a potential that our veterans, as sad as it is, that their day is coming, that they should allow fresh people to come in. Like, you're looking at Jimmy and Jey Uso. Jimmy, his wife is pregnant. I don't think he would want to miss any milestone in his child's life. Jay has said he wants to retire within 2 years as well. I think there's people like, how long will Rey Mysterio, for example, last? Dude's in his 50s,
yeah, but
right?
he's you know what? I remember when Rey Mysterio was basically the talk of the town, just like they all were, but he was uniquely different, where he could basically just spin into everything. He was doing his Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He had lots of moves. He's still very healthy. Um, and even though he is 50 and has children of his own, um, he's still a contender.
And one of them is in the business right now, aka Dominic Mysterio.
That's
Yeah,
right. And knowing that now Eddie Guerrero's daughter is joining WWE, I'm guessing Triple H wants to bring back the paternity of Dom. Like, come on. How much can we milk this story for? Like, we know
You
he's
can't.
Rey Mysterio's son, or is he Eddie Guerrero's? Just take the DNA test and get it over with.
You can't. It won't work. That angle won't work because Rey Mysterio was present at Dominic Mysterio's wedding. I think it was late last year or something like that. But as far
Yeah,
as Rey Mysterio goes, he's older than John Cena.
yeah,
He's also older. Here's another name that you didn't bring up: Brock Lesnar, who by the
yes,
way was just featured in one of the WrestleMania promos as well. So
he's dangerous at Brock. Oh my god, I'm scared of
yeah.
him.
Brock
He's
Lesnar.
He's terrifying.
he honestly, I would not want to mess
Mess
with
with
that
him.
guy.
Nah, he's
He's just an angry dude. He's just
Uh,
like,
he's more dangerous than the Undertaker.
yeah,
oh, that is. Don't say that.
I'll never forget
Don't
that.
say
I'll
that.
never forget that WrestleMania moment. You talk about WrestleMania shock moments. That moment at WrestleMania 30 when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker. I
Yeah,
mean, the crowd, they were stunned. They were shocked. And even I think I remember JBL on commentary saying, I was hoping that this would never happen. But you did go back. Well, let's go back a little bit to CM Punk.
yeah,
Where you mentioned CM Punk. He's 47 right now. I think he's having the best matches of his life right now in the WWE since he came
Yeah.
back. And by the way, admittingly, that was a name I thought we would never see in the WWE again after that falling out that happened about 11, 12 years ago.
yeah. But the thing is, if you look at him then, if you look at all these stars,
Two different people now, CM Punk
yeah.
gone.
So if you look at all these veterans when they started out, their body was in tip-top condition, constantly on a diet, constantly working out, constantly doing this, constantly doing that. and they were a tip top physique. Now with all the beatings from the the head to the back to the shoulders. I mean, CM Punk, he won that, and I'm like, dude's unable to breathe. He's like red all over. Like,
But can I just say something? Like all those ones you've just brought up, they're a different class of wrestler, right? So there's wrestlers that are in it for life, right? That don't quit until they die, and then there's the wrestlers that do it for maybe 15 years, and then after that they end up in Hollywood.
yeah,
Um, so
Stone Cold nearly falls into that category.
yeah,
We do it until you can't do it no more. With Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was a little bit different. He did come in the very late '80s. He started breaking through as a superstar in around 1996 when he won that when he won that King of the Ring tournament. And I'm talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, and
yeah,
cut that promo. The next night, people on Raw were wearing Austin 316 shirts. That came out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming. And they ran with it, and he became the biggest superstar of the 90s. He became the biggest wrestler of the 90s, and
yeah.
it also helped turn the tide in the Monday Night Wars between the WWF and WCW.
What about that wrestler that became a mayor?
Kane, Glenn
Yeah,
Jacobs, Kane.
yeah,
I think he's pretty much all but retired now. By the way, I think he might be the second mayor go from wrestler to mayor. And I think the first one would have been Jesse the Body Ventura back in
yeah.
I believe in the very early 90s. I think it was around 1990 where he first became a mayor of I can't remember I can't remember the place altogether, but he became a mayor in 1990, and then by 1998 he was the governor of Minnesota.
Yeah, so these extraordinary, extraordinary wrestlers are getting close to their time in the ring. Like for example, let's take a look at the Bloodline story. You've got Roman Reigns, you've got The Rock, you've got the Usos, you've got uh what's his name? Jacob Fatu, you've got Solo Sikoa, you've got the MFTs,
so
all these people,
well they're all in the same the
they're
ones
all the
that
same family.
but I'd just like to, sorry for interrupting, of course, right? Um, the first three that you've mentioned, right, with the exception of Fatu, right, they have been doing it for ages, right? Absolute ages. But then you've just got the the sons and the cousins and stuff like that that have only really just popped up in the last 2 3 years. But like I remember when The Rock first started out, and I have to admit, I didn't like him. I hated the looks that he made on his face.
Yeah.
I
You
had
mean that smiling guy wearing the blue tassels and stuff like that?
I didn't like him. I'm sorry, I just did not like him. I liked him more as a heel because at least as a heel, he actually looked like he had some real genuine personality. But I didn't like him as a good guy. I never liked him as a good guy. I thought he looked, well, to be honest, pathetic.
I think we talk about when The Rock came in. Um, I remember a story about him. Like Pat Patterson was telling him a story. You got to sign this. You didn't want this guy today. You wanted him yesterday. That's how good he was in developmental. Just
Yeah.
doing some practice. He was doing training with Rocky Johnson,
With
and
his dad.
he came in as Rocky Maivia. He came in wearing his blue homage to Rocky Johnson and Peter Maivia, and that's how you came up with Rocky Maivia. But the longer that gimmick went on, the more the crowd started to boo him. But thankfully, he did get injured at the time in around 1997, and then when he came back as a heel, and and he started developing that character, and it was like the version of Stone Cold Steve Austin without winning the King of the Ring. He
Yeah.
developed that character, and it was so good. The crowd loved it, and I think the turning point for The Rock would have been what it was definitely one of the pay-per-views in late 1998. It was in Canada, and the crowd cheered everything he did. you knew at that point he was going to be he was going to be one of the next guys.
For me, I think when Roman says the bloodline story will continue, there's going to be a point in time where I don't know if this source is alleged, but from what I've heard is that Jimmy himself, not Jimmy, Jay himself has said he wants to retire, but Roman has allegedly said that he wants Jay to succeed him as the next tribal chief. But for me, with Jay's storyline, is I don't know. I love you, Jay. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big, Jay fan. But I don't see him wearing a red ulafala around his neck. I don't see him leading the family into the ring. I just don't see him being strong enough to carry that weight. I can see maybe Jimmy or maybe Jacob Fatu becoming top leaders.
What about Solo Sikoa?
I don't like him.
Right now, Solo Sikoa is wearing the quote unquote Ulafala, I believe,
I
at the
don't
moment.
like him. I don't know if that's the script they've given him, or how he acts with the script. But I genuinely, there's something about him that irks me, that I feel like it's damaging the storyline instead of making it better.
But you can only milk a storyline for so long before it gets stale. That's the problem. That's the problem that the WWE has right now with the Bloodline storyline at the moment. And I believe at this point in time, the Bloodline is actually known as what, MFT or something like
Yeah,
that on
MFT.
SmackDown. So they have realized it, but they're trying to get something different out of it, and I believe they're now wearing war paint or something along those lines when they go to the ring. I haven't seen enough of SmackDown lately to tell that, but you can't milk that storyline forever.
I,
It's what happened with the NWO in
I
WCW when that came in. That was red hot,
yeah,
and then it slowly became too much, and they kept on trying to go back to it, and it ended up working against WCW.
yeah,
the biggest problem right now is that Solo has the problem of, and I think the whole family has this problem, is when is it WWE and when is it Days of Our Lives?
exactly. That's my
Yeah,
point.
that's a fair point. I've always wanted to make that comparison, but I just never had the balls to actually do it. But
But
yeah, when does it become Days of Our Lives?
Exactly, because I only started watching Days of Our Lives in the 90s, and then I quit after one episode, because you know how the story ends in Days of Our Lives. It's the same thing after 60 years. The wife is still dealing with her husband's boyfriend's friends. The storyline WWE is, how long is the oh on Roman Reigns' family um gonna last? This is the same story we're seeing over and over and over and over again, where other wrestlers are getting tired of them too. And so I love you, Roman, but there's two leaders I see leading after Roman retires, and it's not Jay. It will be Jimmy, and it will be Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu, I really, really like him. He has come in so strong and so, like,
The Samoan Werewolf,
yeah,
Jacob Fatu.
he took people by storm, and I didn't care for his backstory. I cared to see how well he's going to do in wrestling. And the fact that he's gone from being with Solo to now being with his cousins, to becoming, I don't see him going back to heel. I see him as he's going to be a babyface, or he is a babyface, and they're writing him in as that now, because I don't see Fatu retiring for the next 10 years. There's no way. Did Iron Steel.
I will never see Fatu as a babyface. They will never make him a babyface. He will be a heel for life.
He
He'll be,
already is a baby. He already is a baby face right now, but
no,
I don't think it's going to work for him. I think he's probably the way that he is at the moment, the way that they nicknamed him this Samoan Werewolf. You can't be a baby face. It's just as good as he is, it won't work for him being a
no,
baby
it
face.
doesn't
He
work
has to
with
be a
his
heel.
character. Look, what makes him an interesting character is because he's got a criminal background. He's already been to prison. He got busted for petty theft. he has seen the inside of a cell. Okay, he got out. He wanted a job, and his first job was to get into the WWE
To join his family.
to join his family, and it's worked really well for him. But even though, as much as they try to make him a baby face, he just doesn't have that persona. And the more they try to make him a baby face, it'll never work. When I saw him, I just thought, no, not a baby face. He's a heel, and you need Fatua.
Fatu.
Sorry, Fatu.
Fatu.
Are you talking or am I? You need Fatu to basically be a heel, because you need the bad guys to develop the storyline, because if you don't have a storyline, it just gets lame.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. That's the problem. Who do you feud Fatu up? If you're not feuding Fatu with the bloodline, who are you feuding him with? There's really nobody out there that's in a Fatu feud at the moment.
Also, I'd like to point out with Roman Reigns, I remember when Roman Reigns was starting out for the first time and he was the babyface. And he was hated for being a babyface. And he tried to do everything, including bringing children that were dying of cancer in wheelchairs and
Mm.
getting them to watch the match, which at first you just think, okay, well, this is like an innocent play, right? He's just trying to do something charitable for his fans, good on him, whatever. But a lot of people saw that as, no, you're just kind of using this poor kid that's got cancer to make yourself look better than you actually are.
Yeah, I
And
remember that. I remember when Roman Reigns came in. The WWE, Vince McMahon and the WWE bent over backwards to try and make him a babyface. He was the guy, but the crowd, the audience, did not wanted him as the guy, and they booed him out of the
I
building, and they
know.
booed and they cheered everyone else. And you don't go against the people. When you go against the people, it just shows you're not listening to the people. I remember that
Exactly.
Royal Rumble which Roman Reigns won. That was an unmitigated freaking disaster. Council WWE Network was trending for 72 hours.
Like he started out as the Shield. Come on, him, Seth Rollins, and that other guy, right?
John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, John
Yeah.
Moxley.
No one knew who Roman Reigns was. He was booed till Kingdom Come. Now I really, really love Roman. He's my tribal chief, but Roman, he may not be a full timer. He's a part time, but Roman. What I didn't like about the last WrestleMania that went by was, and I do love Cody Rhodes as well, but when Cody Rhodes quote finished his story, I don't know why Triple H looked at the storyline and went, well, we're going to run with this. We're going to give Cody the championship because Roman's going to go off to make a movie. We'll pretend that he's injured while he's away in Hollywood, you know, doing a movie. And I think they could have just let him win anyway, and Cody lost, and then go off do his thing, and then come back and start again. But then they're going, oh, but Cody, he's boring. He has nothing to show for it. He's gonna make wrestling stale.
I think I think that finished the story. Cody Rhodes had to win the title, but the question is how they got there was the problem because
Yeah,
it became a problem when Rock decided to come back and he teased, what should the Rock do? Where should the Rock should he be the head of the table? And at that point, that got eyes drawn to WrestleMania between say the Rock and the Rock and Roman Reigns. That was the actual story, the way it was going, but the crowd didn't like that. The
yeah,
crowd turned against they turned against Roman Reigns and they turned against The Rock when it came closer to WrestleMania and Cody had to be there and they just started booing The Rock. And I know why too. It happened when you mentioned a little while ago, Pat McAfee on his show where he called Cody Rhodes' fans Cody crybabies.
yeah.
And that trend, that trended, and he did a press conference the same afternoon, and he got booed out of the building. And from that point on, he got booed out of the building, and
Yeah,
that's when The Rock became the final boss.
yeah. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, all these athletes, all these wrestlers, when they bow out, what I'm hoping for, and I don't know if Cena's been inducted into the Hall of Fame or anything like that, but if they're
He'll
gonna
be
induct,
there. He'll be inducted for sure, no doubt.
I think he should be inducted next year, because he would have finished up this year and allowed him to spend time with his wife, to do what he needs to do, and then come back and become a Hall of Famer. I think he really, really deserves that Hall of Fame. I think Roman deserves to be a Hall of Famer. I think you're right. You both are right about stuff, but what I don't understand is, look at people like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes will bow out eventually, 4 years from now, 5 years from now.
You know what? I think he's got a bit more fuel in the tank.
Nah, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is currently not wrestling, but I think they should bow him out. Um,
No, you know what? I think honestly, Cody Rhodes has a bit more fuel in the tank.
I
Like
think he's probably.
even
I think Cody Rhodes has got about 5 years left in him.
yeah, that's 3 to 5. I reckon 3 to 5 years.
do,
About
do you know
five
one
years.
thing I actually do remember is that there used to be this movie called Standing Tall, which had The Rock in it and Johnny Knoxville, right? And it's basically a cop movie where The Rock basically, instead of a gun, he basically uses a 2x4 to smash up his his enemies, right? And I remember my dad basically just saying, "Oh, look at that guy. He tackles people just like a wrestler."
Dude, he is a wrestler.
And I'm like, Dad, that's because he is a wrestler. So what's his name? I'm like, it's The Rock.
You know what?
What kind of wrestling name is that?
Screw The Rock. I prefer Hobbs. Oh, wait a minute. It's the same person, but only in Fast and the Furious.
Like, look at it this way. We've said, look, Roman's gonna go. Okay, AJ Styles is leaving next year. Cena's leaving this year. Rey Mysterio will bow out eventually. He'll tire of it. I think Kevin Owens, he's not wrestling at the moment, but I think if he was to come back, I don't think, against Sami Zayn, his own best friend, I don't think he can. I don't think he can survive it. Um, my guy Sami Zayn will retire eventually. I think he's getting older. He's tiring out more. His physique isn't up to par.
Here's another name for you, Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, his time will come.
He's 45 already, so I don't think he's got much longer left in him. I don't think he's got much more in him. Here's another name, Natty Neidhart, Natalia Neidhart. She's 43 right now.
Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair, I think she's borderline. She's in the late 30s, I think, if not 40s, but I'll check that out right now. But I think she's about 39. She's 39.
Like her dad, the legendary, iconic Ric Flair. I think Charlotte, I say 3 years, 2 years, something like 4 years maybe. I
Charlotte
think
Flair is actually pretty close to breaking Ric Flair's record when it comes to championships. The only thing she needs, I think she needs about 3 more championships and 2 more divorces, and she'll beat his record.
true. I think I don't want to say mommy. I don't want to say Rhea because it'll break my heart. Rhea is a star. Rhea is legendary. She's iconic. People love her. I love her.
And she's
Um,
only 29, Rhea
she's
Ripley.
a baby. I'm older than her. Sorry, Rhea, but I love you. But I, I, I don't know how long will Rhea last, give or take. You think? What do you think?
Oh, come on. Look, all right. I reckon, I think, again, I think she's got a lot of energy in her. And I think her career will easily span at least another 20 years.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. You talk about 20. You talk about you say 20 years. That'll make her 49 by the time she retires.
Yeah, that's
I'd
what I think.
probably say
49.
I'd probably go about 11 years, maybe.
11
No.
years.
No, you know what? Like I have noticed that there is a difference between the strength and speed of the women versus the men. And Rhea Ripley is really tough nailed, but
Yeah,
she's
she's
also,
strong.
she's also strong, but she's also, I think she's got the mental capacity to just last the distance. And even if she loses a match, people still love her.
I do. What do you think I will dressed up as? I will put my makeup as Rhea for Halloween because I absolutely love Rhea. But the thing is, you're looking at someone like Liv Morgan who's supposedly injured, yet she's in Japan acting, right? And this whole love story between her and Dom, and now this love story between him and someone
Liv
else in
Morgan's actually older than Dominic Mysterio.
yeah, but this love story between them and this love story between him and another girl in the Judgment Day, and so like, I just think end the love story, finish the love story. We're all getting we love you, the Morgan, but it's kind of gaga goo goo type of oh, like
I thought the storyline with Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan was fantastic. It's just a shame that Liv Morgan's quote unquote on the injured list, but she should be coming back pretty soon. I think she'll be back in time for the Royal Rumble at
don't
least.
get me wrong, I don't hate her. I love Liv Morgan. I think she's so cute. I want to be her friend, but I just think the storyline has gone on for a bit longer than it needs to for me. Because
You mean the love story, the love triangle.
yeah, because I'd love for Liv to go heel instead of babyface.
She is heel.
So,
I think
She's associated with Dominic Mysterio, so that means Liv Morgan's a heel.
so,
ah,
so who do you think actually has the worst story currently?
oh
The worst story.
Like
I
the
think LA.
worst back.
To be
Seth
honest, I think
Rollins.
LA Knight. I think
Yes, exactly.
he's
I was going to say LA Knight.
to me, LA
Yeah.
Knight is basically Lex Luger in the 90s. He's been positioned right now as a glorified choke artist. When it comes to main events, he is a choke artist. And that's not good because he is hell over, but for whatever reason, the WWE are not pulling the trigger on LA Knight. He had been earmarked a couple of times to win the Royal Rumble, but also, here's another fact for you. LA Knight, by the way, yesterday turned 43. So he's now
Happy
43.
birthday,
So
LA
he
Knight.
is close to the end as well.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
to be honest, I think Leon's 100% right. I think he has the worst backstory out of all of them. There's some pretty bad ones. But I just think he's got the worst backstory.
You know who I think will retire soon? Nia Jax. I'm sorry to say that I cannot stand her. Sorry, Nia. Sorry, Nia. I know she'll squish me like a bug, but
Isn't she a member of the bloodline?
yes,
Hey, you know what? Here's a little fact for you regarding Nia Jax. Guess where she was born?
she was born in Australia.
She was born in Sydney, so that technically makes her an Aussie. And
Yeah,
by the way, Nia Jax is 41 as well. So,
yeah, but the fact that she has an American accent,
mm.
unlike unlike the tribal thief, he's Australian. He's got a thick
Did you
Australian
just say the
accent.
tribal thief?
Yeah. Not Bron Breaker. What's the other one? Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed is Australian. Yeah,
You
he's
just
from
said
Adelaide.
tribal thief, as in
Yeah, his shirt says tribal thief on it.
I thought the stupid part about Bronson Reed's gimmick right now is the fact that he's wearing Roman Reigns' shoes over him like some sort of shoelafala or some bullcrap.
Yeah.
That is like, are you serious? That's almost like a borderline stereotype thing, and you can't have stereotypes in WWE anymore,
But thing is,
or in reality anymore.
but thing is, wait, when he said, "Oh, we were, was it we were?" Say what he said to Roman. We were exiled to Australia because they wouldn't let us live. They wouldn't let us stay in Samoa. And he's like, "Dude, Samoan, I own you." But I'm like, "Oh, he's another cousin. Here we go. He's
Yeah.
another cousin." And the story re-begins. I'm like, dude, how many cousins are there? What about what's a young kid's name who's also a relative of Roman's that's supposed to be joining WWE?
I don't know. I don't know. I think the newest newest wrestler from the Bloodline hasn't been born yet.
No, but there is a
Probably under the WWE contract already.
but I don't know if this is alleged. I've heard Jay and Jimmy say it. Is that Roman technically is the Usos' uncle, but they call him cousin because it would seem too weird that they're wrestling with their uncle in the ring. So they say, "Oh, he's a cousin."
That just raises
It's
more
not too
questions.
unfamiliar. It's not too
That raises
unfamiliar
so
for a
many
father son.
questions. Although coming from a royal family, doesn't seem
Because
so weird.
Roman is technically their uncle, but they call him cousin because they don't want to make it sound weird that the uncle is part of the
The bloodline,
is
yeah.
the bloodline king. So therefore, or high priest or whatever royalty. So they said, "Oh, he's technically uncle, but we call him cuz. We call him Uso because he's cousin." But they don't want to say uncle because it just sounds too weird. Like, but for me, I love you, Roman. I love the Usos, but there's so many of these athletes that need to retire. And we can. I'm hoping maybe we can see fresh faces within the next 5 years.
Who would you bring up? Who would you bring up and bring in? Because most of these guys are in their 40s already, or close to, or in their 40s, or in their late 40s.
What about the
And I
ones that?
go on.
What about the ones that are being trained in the wrestling camp?
You mean
Like,
NXT?
no, not NXT. The ones that the Undertaker, um
Oh,
that
what's
he
that?
does this group thing, and then you see Gunther running them through as well. In the wrestling camp. And why are you here? Oh, I want to be a good wrestler. I want to be like blah 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 blah. And he's always like, you think you're the best, you're not. But he swears, but I'm not gonna cuss on him. He's like, oh, you think you're king, blah blah blah. You're not. You know,
What was that WWE program? I can't remember what it was called.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, so there was like a program where they've got someone called the General, right?
The
KFC has the Colonel, WWE
no,
has
no,
the
no, no,
Colonel.
no. It's not about that. There's a
the general is Gunther, the ring
yeah, but
general.
it's a WWE camp. I've seen
No, no,
behind
no.
the scenes.
I know what you're talking about. So basically, what they do is they train,
The
pretty much,
legends are training these newer kids.
yeah,
Yeah,
these, yeah, and it's interesting where they all come from. So some of them come from literally just bare fist boxing, like real hardcore stuff, or they come from
the family.
well, they need to be trained for the WWE, right? So they need to learn how to throw someone without actually breaking their necks,
And some of
right?
them come from being um part of the family.
Oh, by the way, that thing is called Legends and Future Greats.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have a feeling that was the one you were thinking of, but
That's why I would like to see some of them become legends in their own right and stepping into NXT, into AEW, and then WWE. I think there's a high chance we can see if it's family, bring them in now. If it's not, get them trained up.
It'd be interesting, because I know the Usos, right? They have this whole family bloodline thing going on, and that works for them. But they really need to, if in order for this for the Uso family to succeed and for them not to become Days of Our Lives again or at all, there really needs to be another wrestling family to challenge them.
And that's why you talk about the Rhodes family, the Cody Rhodes family, because you had Dusty Rhodes, God rest his soul, and then you've got his two boys, right?
yep. You got
Kurt,
Dustin Rhodes, however, he's in AEW, and I don't believe he's going anywhere. And I believe he's actually in his 50s now.
yeah, so he needs to retire. And you've got Cody, who's just had a new baby girl called Leilani, and so cute. Congrats to the Rhodes
By the way,
family.
Dustin Rhodes is 56 years old, so he's retired now.
Yeah, so and you've got Cody, who's just had a baby girl. Congrats to them. But as I said, I don't think he wants to miss out on his child's life, and neither does Big Jim. I don't think he wants to miss out on his kid's life either. And I think, as sad as it is, I don't know how the wrestling community is shocked at this, but all these, athletes, but I'm not. I think it's for the better because I think Triple H, as great as he is as a CEO, or CCO, Chief Content Maker, or part of the thing, I think he needs to look at the future instead of the present, where we need fresh people to join WWE.
You know what? I think he's doing a relatively good job.
No, he is. I'm saying he is.
No, just hear me out here. I think he's doing a relatively good job based on the fact that what he's had to carry with him, because when Vince McMahon was running it, okay, there was so much corrupt shit that was going on. There was everything from people taking drugs to sexual assault to all this other stuff that shouldn't have been happening. And then it was like Vince McMahon created the identity of, I need to be the ultimate bad guy. So I'm just going to continue with this behavior. Okay. And then pay people to be a horrible person. So he's had to almost reform the WWE, but at the same time, keep it going, keep it fluid, and still allow it to be palatable to a point where it's like, okay, can my children actually watch this and not be affected by it?
Vince
So that's
McMahon
why.
is no longer a part of the WWE.
No, he's not. But there has been whispers that he's starting his own wrestling company.
I believe I have heard that rumor too, but I believe that's not going to go anywhere.
But to be honest, also the legend that I've heard, and Lynn, I'm sure you would look into it, fact check me. I've heard allegedly that he is turning up to WrestleMania in November at Las Vegas for WrestleMania 41. I don't
Vince
true, that's what I'm
McMahon
saying,
showing up at
alleged.
WrestleMania.
I look, it would be look, the world has changed, right? The world has changed. Before, what Vince McMahon was doing was, it was unsavory, but it was
It was
acceptable.
wrong. It was wrong. So under
But
every
but
circumstance.
it's wrong now, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's why I'm not saying if it's true, and that's why I want to fact check, because what I've heard alleged through WWE is Vince McMahon is planning to come to WrestleMania
No, I
Vegas.
don't ever see that happening.
Not to watch it, not to be a
Unless he buys a ticket,
If he
which
buys
he
a
probably
ticket,
could.
yeah, I can see that. But even having him on television, it's just going to put,
It'd be a bad look.
yeah, it'd be a bad look. And if anything, I know the media would just end up banning him.
He looks different now. Have you seen him?
It doesn't matter what he looks
He's
like.
had so much plastic surgery done.
It doesn't matter what he looks like. What matters is what he's done.
Of
Yeah,
course, he's done is right.
What he did was totally wrong. I mean,
I know
no
that.
one's going to argue the point there. But
Yeah,
as
of
far
course.
as WrestleMania goes, if he buys a ticket, then it's fine. But he can't be in the front row, because if he's in the front row, then it feels right, because the media will come down on this, saying, look, and also. I think it might have been Triple H did get put in a Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame, I believe, earlier this year,
Yep.
and he did say that the situation with he and Vince it's complicated. So obviously, I don't think Vince McMahon appreciates the way that the WWE is being run at the moment. I Vince McMahon would have never put those sponsorships and stuff like that on the ring at all. He would have never done that, and that's the first thing that Triple H did.
I
So
don't think he would have allowed it to go to Netflix either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I think bravo to Triple H for making such a bold move to putting it on Netflix.
the thing I don't get regarding it being on Netflix is now that they should have free reign to say or whatever, do whatever they want, they're still censoring. It's a freaking streaming service. Why would you need to why would you need to censor anything now?
Cancel culture. Cancel culture.
We live in a cancel culture world.
World.
You know, the whole reason why Vince McMahon was able to get away with half the stuff that he did was because you didn't have cancel culture. Now you do.
Now you
And
do, and Vince
you know,
McMahon now would never get away with it.
yeah. So um and I think it was absolutely disgusting that the woman that sued him for sexual assault, he
Essay.
he basically just effectively paid $1 million to, and said, I'll tell you what, if you work for me and follow the script, I'll pay you for admitting that you sued me for sexual assault.
You know, the stupid thing is, here's the stupid thing about all that is Vince McMahon has paid more money for non-disclosure agreements than he did to pay for WCW.
Exactly.
That's sick, man.
Exactly. But Now Triple H's wife is becoming a Hall of Famer next year.
I
Sorry,
don't I
Stephanie.
don't get it, Vince. To be honest, Stephanie, I don't. To me, having Stephanie McMahon in the Hall of Fame less than a year after Triple H got put in the Hall of Fame is basically patting themselves on the back here. If anybody deserves to go into the Hall of Fame, I know this is probably
It's
going to sound
Rhea.
weird. Hey,
Rhea.
no, Rhea too soon, way too soon for
No,
Rhea.
I don't. I agree with that.
I think
She's
I
too
think
soon to get in.
if you're gonna put someone in the Hall of Fame for everything that they've done to wrestling and still alive, um, you've got to go instead of going with Stephanie McMahon, you had to go with Vince because Vince McMahon created the WWE. And why isn't he in? Because he doesn't want to be in the. He does not want to be in the Hall of Fame. But it's going to come to a point where he's going to have to be in the Hall of Fame because he was the one that created the business and he was the one
Yeah.
that redefined the business and changed it.
Yes, but he also nearly destroyed the business with his actions.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
but
true. That's the
look,
one that's the one thing that'll stop him from going in the Hall of Fame.
but look at it this way: when Hogan died, God rest his soul, he led the pack into the memorial as a was it WWE? Yeah,
He started from WWF and then continued into the
I'm
WWE.
talking about when Hogan died recently. Was it
Well,
him led the memorial or was it Triple H? I can't remember.
I don't know. I think it would have been Vince. It would have been Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff for sure. Because those two were two of the main guys that really helped shape and reinvent Hogan
I was
throughout his career.
I was really
Um,
sad about Hogan. Like that broke my little heart because I was like, but we always knew he wasn't well. Like how
I
much
didn't
more?
know. I didn't know he wasn't well. But you know the weird thing is with regarding with Hogan, when he died, it had come out that just like a day before Vince McMahon was involved in a serious car accident.
Yeah,
This was like a day before, and then a couple of days after. Then after a couple of days after Hogan died, we lost Ozzy Osbourne to go along with it. That was
yeah.
a real bad week
I
in the
cried
world.
when Ozzy died. I cried, but
Same here, man.
like as we're talking about the path to retirement
Yeah.
now, who I've thrown in some names into the ring to retire. Who do you see is going to retire after AJ? Who will be the next? Do you think?
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
Rey
I kind
Mysterio is 50 already.
of
I saw him wrestling, by the way. I saw Rey Mysterio wrestling in the old ECW before he went to WCW. And he was a part of the angle which helped elevate the NWO when they quote unquote invaded Disney, right, with Rey Mysterio. That actually Kevin Nash actually caught Rey Mysterio and long darted him into the production truck or threw him into the production truck. And it got so weird and so real that people actually called the police because they thought it was an actual gang war. And that's a Disney? Huh.
you know what? I'm thinking to better answer that question. I'd say I can think of three.
Yeah.
So CM Punk,
Yep.
Rey Mysterio,
Yep.
Yeah.
AJ Styles.
For me,
They're the three that I can see.
I have a few. John Cena's retiring this year.
That's a no-brainer.
It's
We
no
already know
brainer.
about John Cena,
AJ
so we scratch him.
Styles,
Yep, AJ, yep.
Rey Mysterio,
Yep.
CM Punk,
Yep.
and Roman Reigns.
I'm not to be
And
honest,
Seth
I'm not
Rollins. That's
convinced.
5 for me.
Yeah,
Five.
I would add Brock Lesnar to the mix as well because
Yeah, I
he's
don't
got
think he's
nothing to
finished yet.
prove either.
I don't think he's finished.
Oh, he's toast. He's done. Dude's
It's
an MMF fighter. MMA fighter.
it's hard to. Brock Lesnar is this is the thing. It's hard to predict him because he's completely unpredictable. So I
And
don't
still
know.
dangerous.
Yeah, he's still my
Oh
name.
yeah, this is this thing. I don't really know, but yeah, it's hard. He's a bit harder because, well, to be perfectly honest, even though I don't personally like him, he's strong. He's probably the strongest out of all of them. And he's just he's just got brutal strength.
I never forget that SummerSlam match where basically Brock Lesnar just squashed John Cena And this
Yeah.
is John Cena. He squashed too. He bloody German suplexed the hell out of John Cena and just finished him off with an F5. I've never seen John Cena completely destroyed like that.
For me, as I said, there's AJ Styles, CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, um, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins,
I go with Randy. I'd like Randy
and
Orton for
Randy Orton. I
retirement
put
list as
six
well.
names out there. Randy Orton will go, but I see this is how it's gonna go. AJ will be next year. Then Rey Mysterio will probably be within a year or two. Then the downfall begins with the dominoes. And I think this is what Triple H needs to do to end the story of Roman is to bring him. There's two stories he needs to do: make him win a title or get him to win a title, and then bring the Shield back once and for all and let the story finish. And the
Here's
Shield
one for you.
retire.
Here's one I'm gonna throw in for a retirement angle next year. Chris Jericho.
Oh
Even
yes,
though he's actually in limbo at the moment, I believe he's still under contract with AEW until December, as far as I know. So that still gives him a possibility of potentially being John Cena's last opponent. That could be still put there, and also his retirement angle could kick off at the Royal Rumble as well. But
but
Jericho is 54 years old as well. He's older than Rey Mysterio, and he's still got it.
the thing is, they've been doing this teaser, and everyone's wondering who is it? Who is it? For me, those black shoes when he's walking is Gunther. That
That
has to be Gunther.
no, that I know the story. I know that what you're talking about. I know that particular teaser. That was for the WrestleMania 42. That the upcoming WrestleMania in Vegas. That was what that teaser was. And the four people around the table was Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns,
LA Knight.
and who?
LA Knight.
No, not LA Knight. Although there is a picture, there's a little teaser of a knight in the background. Um, I can't remember. I can't remember the fourth one at this point in time in the back of my head, but that was the story. That was the teaser of the shoes. The shoes was a WrestleMania was a WrestleMania Vegas promo, whatever it is.
Mm.
But it definitely had Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. I can't think of the last guy now. Yeah.
Who's the Israeli guy?
Anyway,
Sami Zayn.
Mm.
no, Sami
My
Zayn, that
boy
was not a
Zayn.
part of that one.
No, but my boy Sammy, Habibi Sammy. I think Sammy. I'd hate to say goodbye to him, but Sammy, poor guy. I think. How long has he got left as well? How old is Sammy?
Let's have a quick squiz here. Sami Zayn, he is already 41, so he's still got a few years left.
I don't see it because when I don't know, I think it's the hair and the beard that makes him look old.
Oh, by the way, that fourth guy that I couldn't think about, CM Punk.
Yeah, I think
We've mentioned his name literally within the space of 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but the WrestleMania promo, the one that Cat was talking about, the guys in there were Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Brock Lesnar, and also who else just happened to be in the promo? Triple H, and also Paul Heyman. But the thing is, Paul Heyman was hanging around Brock Lesnar, so there may be a reunion on the cards there between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar.
I think if there's two people that need to be inducted to the Hall of Fame next year, please don't come at me for this, but I think three people actually: Roman, Jimmy, and Jay need to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
We might as
and
well just
also
call it a
Sam,
Bloodline
also
Hall of
Sammy.
Fame.
Four: Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy
No.
need to be inducted.
No, this is look, they're good wrestlers. I'm not saying that they're not. Okay. But is it Hall of Fame worthy? I'm not so sure.
I think so because they've carried wrestling on their shoulder. They've carried the company on their shoulders, and they've built strong storylines. They've built strong beginnings and strong finishes. And I think
It's like
the four of them together.
I literally just said, and Leon agreed with me, that where do you get to the point where it's Days of Our Lives? So if all they've got is a good storyline, okay. I'm just saying, like, what is particularly groundbreaking about The Usos, apart
Well,
from the fact that they win
well,
matches.
well, here's an idea for you. Let's think about the Hall of Fame then. So we've got Stephanie McMahon. She's in there already. I think next year, because John Cena's announced his retirement this year, it's going to be next month. I would put John Cena in there next year, the WWE Hall of Fame. Here's something for you. I would put the first ever tag team to win the championship 3 times. I would put them in. That would be Demolition. There's always been talk about them. They were the first 3-time WWF tag team champions. So I'd put them in as well. But who else? I've got no idea.
Oh, do you know who I'd put in? Like, honestly, I'd probably putting in the Motor City Machine Guns in.
Too early.
Uh,
I think too early, and I don't think they've done enough in the WWE to
that's
actually
what I'm
warrant
saying.
that.
I think Roman, the Usos, and Sami Zayn
Ken
need to be
Shamrock,
inducted,
maybe?
and 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 um and and Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton need to be inducted because
They'll be inducted in
CM Punk
time, but I don't
CM Punk
CM
needs to be
Punk.
inducted.
See, I think CM Punk's going to be inducted anyway,
Yeah.
right? But like I don't see, apart from the Usos being part of the same family and winning actual championships, I don't know what they've actually done to warrant
Let's tell you,
putting them in the Hall of Fame.
the Usos, who are also known as Fatu, right, have started their wrestling about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. And they began together. They looked different back then. And since then, they changed their image. Their merch sells like hotcakes. Their music is top notch. Their wrestling as a tag team champion is incredible. And I think they've fought and they've fought and they've fought. And now Sammy coming along. They fought along Sammy against Sammy. Now their uncle, cousin Roman has, helped them rise.
I think future Hall of Fames, definitely Sammy's got to go into a future Hall of Fame. He should go in the same year as Kevin Owens, or even say Sammy goes in and Kevin Owens inducts him, and then the year after that, Kevin Owens goes in and Sammy inducts him, because they both came up through the Ring of Honor. And I was also thinking about other potential inductions into the Hall of Fame for next year. Here's 3 for you. Mickey James. She started it. She started during just as the Attitude Era ended. Batista.
Ooh,
There you
Batista.
go. That's 1 for you right now.
What about the
And
Italian dude?
also a posthumous one, Bray Wyatt.
What about the Italian dude?
Which one? This
What's his name?
Italian dude.
Yeah, wrestler.
I don't know. You gotta have to be more specific.
Look
I'm
at him,
drawing a
type in
blank.
Italian wrestler.
Vito Calderoni. Sorry.
Santino Marella.
That's
You're
the one.
thinking?
Mario? Is it?
Santino Marella, he needs to be inducted. Oh, he's sexy.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
Well, here's another one for you. Here's another name for you. Truth.
Yes.
He's got to be close to 50. Let me find out. Oh, because he's got to go in as well. Truth. Do you want to know here? Do you want to know this one?
Yep.
Truth has been doing his best stuff for the past 15 or so years. Do you want to know how old he is?
60.
53.
Close enough.
Truth is 53 years old. He
Oh,
definitely needs to go in the Hall of Fame.
If he doesn't make it to the Hall of Fame, at least give him a Snickers for his efforts.
Look, he's about the Rock's age. Him and the Rock are the same age.
Let me have a look here real quick. But as far as Truth, you're right. He and The Rock are 53.
They're
So
the same
there you
age.
go. They're both the same age. But I'm just going back to Truth for a moment. They just did Halloween, and you want to know what happened on Raw?
But
For his Halloween outfit, he came dressed up as Santa Claus. Truth has got to go into the Hall of Fame.
That's it. Yeah, you know what? It sold it. Yeah, absolutely.
that's what I'm saying. Triple H, if you watch this or hear us say this, please think of our
Because how funny would that be? It's like you're beating up Santa Claus. Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I thought he would dress up as his favorite person, John Cena.
Here's one for you regarding Truth. I think Truth is a must going into the Hall of Fame because he's been so funny for so many years. when yeah, I think it was one of the Royal Rumbles. I think it was a women's Royal Rumble, and an entry came in, and our Truth's music was playing, and he was about to enter the ring, and he was stopped by the officials. What are you doing? It's the women's. This ain't the men's. Oh, my bad, dog. And he just went back to the locker room.
I did see that.
I honestly,
Where are all the dudes? Where are the dudes?
I honestly can see John Cena behind the scenes with Triple H running stories
Oh,
and
I agree.
helping new wrestlers, and
Or
not
at
just
least being
that,
a player, or at least being a player coach.
yeah, or at least sitting next to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole being a commentator when one of them can't work that day. And I think
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how John Cena would go as a commentator, but I know who did excel as a commentator, who has excelled as commentators. Wade Barrett, he's done really good for himself as a commentator. Booker T, I'm thinking Booker T probably should stay behind the scenes because he tells way too many stories on NXT. Does not let that play out all right. So he's not that
you know
great
who
at it.
scares
Corey
me.
Graves as well.
You know who scares the lights out of me?
Who,
Gunther. I'm scared of him.
who
I don't know
scares
if
the
he's
hell?
gonna, because I know behind the scenes they're all like nice guys. They're not the characters. Blah blah. They break character, but I'm scared to think. Does he have a nice side?
You're
Who scares
thinking,
who
is he an
scares you?
actual, is he an NAZI? That's what you're thinking.
No, don't say that.
Who,
But
who
I'm
who's
scared. I'm scared of Gunther. Like he frightens me.
Gunther? Yeah, I think Gunther is going to be John Cena's last opponent.
Oh, I think so. How good would that be?
Do you know what? If CM Punk ever actually does retire, which I'm sure he will, I would love to see him as one of the commentators, to be honest, because if anyone's deserved it, it's him. Because he's got so much experience. Okay. So
Why do I have a feeling CM Punk might be his last person ever?
I think wouldn't that be fun? Here's one for you. Yeah, I'll throw a random one for you regarding John Cena's last opponent. This I'll put it out there because I think it's rather a funny idea because it actually might actually happen. If Gunther is not the last opponent, I would have Dominic Mysterio be the last opponent
Ooh,
because he's got the Intercontinental Championship, and there's only one championship that John Cena has never won in the
and
WWE,
that's that
and that's
one.
the Intercontinental Champion. So wouldn't that be funny if he won it on the last match?
That'd be
that would
nice.
be so interesting.
That'd be really nice.
And that gave you guys a potential storyline.
Yeah. Well, here we go. WWE path to retirement. I'd like to thank my tag team partner Leon, my boy Buckets. Thank you so much. Let us know in the comments below what you think of our ideas. Please press like, it'll help us along the way to get more content out to you. Hopefully the next content will be after we get married. Until then,
And
thank
by
you.
the way, congratulations on your upcoming nuptials.
Thank you. And don't forget we are on Spotify. We're also on Anchor FM. So don't forget to listen to us there as well, and let us know and invite your friends to tag along and subscribe to us. It'll help us go a long way. We do have plenty more content this year, but it'll have to wait till after our nuptials. Once again, thank you, and I hope you like the show. See you next time, guys. Stay safe. Until then,
Right.
God bless.